I am writing because I am an older non-traditional student. I have a BA in psych, but my GPA is low. It's been nearly 13 years since I graduated. Do you have any suggestions on how I can become a better candidate before applying to med school? I was accepted into master's in public health.
A master's degree does not necessarily get you any closer to being in medical school. I want to explain why.
And I'm taking advanced level classes.
Not that people who do master's degrees as non-traditional students don't get into medical school. You are obviously one of them, Nee. You didn't even actually get a degree.
Why you put my business out there like that?
I like the fact that you didn't get that master's degree because I use you as an example. I want to iterate and reiterate the fact that doing the master's or getting the master's degree does not necessarily put you in higher favor with an admissions committee.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Docs Outside the Box, yo. It's your host, it's your boy, Dr. Nee. I'm joined by my amazing co-host, tired co-host, Dr. Renee. Yo, what's up? How you doing?
This second day in a row. I'm looking like a hot mess, y'all. Hot. H-A-W-T. Mess.
And that's what a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old can do to you.
People got 5-year-olds, 7 years old, 7-year-olds. They don't look like a hot mess.
Let me go find them. Everybody, the ladies, write into fan mail. Let your boy know what y'all look like, what y'all wearing.
Woo!
Well, I'll tell you something right now, guys. I'm gone. We podding, or I'm podding on location in my hotel on locums. Just finished my shift today, and I'm tired. But one of the things that we do a lot is we'll pod when Renee puts the kids to sleep. After I get my workout in, there's a Planet Fitness that's not too far from me, and I get my workout on. I get into it and I kick it. And one of the things that I wanted to share with you guys, if you went to my Instagram about a week ago, by the time this episode comes out, maybe even longer than that.
About a week ago.
I was training for a Spartan race, but now I got this crazy goal where I want to try to break 20 minutes in a 5K, right? So that's 3.1 miles. I want to run that under 20 minutes. And I want to be able to bench 250 pounds. Boy, I have never felt so far away from a goal in my life. Alfred, run the tape. So I reached out to one of my college friends. She's a coach now. She coaches like half marathoners, and all the people who do their stuff. And I was telling her what my goals are, and I was like, well, this is what I want to do. I want to run this time. And this is how long I've been working out. Your boy's been working out for 3 years, and I've been intermittently running. I've been dealing with calf injuries, but I've been still kicking it. And she's like, okay, well, listen, in order for me to help you, we got to know like what your baseline is. And I was like, all right, what you getting at? And she's like, yeah, like I need to know, like, why don't you do a time trial? And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll do like a 400. She's like, no. I need you to go and do a 2-mile time trial so I can know what where you're at. And I was like, 2 miles. I was like, oh, no. Because I run on the treadmill, or I'll go out for a run, run for like 3 miles to 5 miles. That's the most I've been doing lately over the past year.
You know how to run.
I know how to run. I know how to be efficient while I'm running. I know how to maintain.
No, that's not what I'm saying. You know how to run. You know that the opposite arm and the opposite leg go at the same time. That's how you run. You know that. Let's start there.
I could write a book on that. But now
right
I'm 46.
Foot, right leg.
I'm 46.
Left arm.
I haven't been working out for like 20 years, right? I'm still getting rid of all that stuff from 3 years ago or 20 years ago. So she was like, yeah, you need to do a time trial. Just go all out for 2 miles and tell me what you can do. And then from there, we can say that's your baseline. And we can start making workouts, tempo runs, interval trainings, even like your nice jogs. I can tell you what pace you should go at so that we can get you strong enough so that if your goal is by the end of the year to be able to break this, then we need to be able to use some metrics and some data. So I was like, all right, I got this, no problem. So like I told you, I was like, I need your help. Let's find a time. And, Alfred hopefully is still running that tape, but we chose this past Sunday to do this right before I left for work. And I was nervous because I haven't run an all-out run in a long time, since college. Haven't done it. So I'm trying to pace myself. How do I figure this out? And I knew that the major issue would be I don't know how to pace. And if I go on a track, it's going to be a problem because I haven't been running on a track, and running on a track is way different than running on the roads. So I did the splits in my head. I was like, yeah, I need to be able to come through in this. And boy, oh boy. So I went out and you were chasing me. And I think the first thing you noticed, because I heard the tape, right? You and the kids were in the car. Why are you looking like that?
Because you said I was chasing you.
What were you doing?
I was driving the car behind you. I was chasing you. Sounds like I was running behind you.
No, you was chasing me in the car because you was trying to keep up. And you couldn't. I was going too fast.
Yeah, okay. That's what it was.
But anyway, your boy, I went out there, ran, and I made it basically a mile. And I just, whatever the mile pace I was at was way too fast. And I couldn't keep up. I didn't stop like huffing and puffing or anything like that, but I could just tell this wasn't the pace that I wanted to be at. And it just sucked, bro. It sucked. So you can see on the video, I had to stop a couple of times. But the first mile was basically 6:47. And then after that, I couldn't do it. So I was a little upset at myself and a little tight. And it took me a while. It wasn't until I left that I was like, all right, let me put things in perspective, because if I look at this from like what I'm used to doing over the last 10 to 20 years, it's like literally taking like an MCAT without practicing, right? Without doing a practice test, right? It's like taking a board examination and not doing like any type of questions whatsoever. It's like going into a surgery and not prepping yourself on the anatomy. And the question is like, if I had done any of those things without the proper prep, would I have been as upset at myself now as I, would have been in those respective things, right? And I'm like, damn, that don't make no damn sense. I can't be that mad at myself. I can't beat myself up for that. So, yeah, thoughts?
Yeah, let's talk about unrealistic expectations.
I wouldn't say that's unrealistic to say I want to run 2 miles.
Let's talk about unrealistic expectations. Now, I have no doubt in my mind that you could have completed 2 miles.
But part of the issue is like you were like
I'm
in the car.
Now. You
was too close. You was too close to me, and that was the issue. Every time you were close to me, I was scared that the car was going to hit me. So let me go faster. You effing my pace up. You was messing my pace up.
Very good. So let's talk about unrealistic expectations. Because before we left the house, I felt and I expressed to you that I thought that your expectations about what you were going to do during this run, that your expectations were essentially unrealistic.
What do you mean? You didn't know what my expectations were.
You talked about it all morning, Nee.
What was my expectations?
You talked about it all morning. You thought you were going to run like a 6-minute mile or something. I'm like,
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I said I was going to try to average. I said I was going to try to average like 6:30 pace.
Okay. 6:30. I mean, 30 seconds difference. And I said to you,
that's a big difference.
It's not that big of a difference when you haven't been training at all.
If you had 30 seconds more of anything, you'd be happy. Trust me.
Yeah, buddy.
Trust me. Moving on.
That actually sounds bad for you, Darko. But so
does it really? Does it really, fellas? Does it really?
It does. It does. It does. But anyway. But I said to you that your expectations were unrealistic because though you have been exercising for 3 years consistently, you have not been running consistently for 3 years. You haven't been running really at all. You've been taking intermittent runs, but you haven't been training. And I'm glad you brought up the whole MCAT. Right? The whole MCAT thing, because that's exactly what I tell my students. You can know how to run, right? Left leg, right arm, right? And then vice versa, and just keep alternating. You can know all of that, but that don't mean that you can run a marathon. That doesn't mean anything. I know how to run. I can't run no marathon. I can't run a 5K right now. Like it
You
wouldn't
knew
make
how
any
to
sense.
run. You knew how to run. I don't know if you know how to run.
Anyway. So your expectations, I think, were unrealistic considering this was supposed to be your trial, right? This was not supposed to be the MCAT. This was supposed to be the practice test that you take before you do the MCAT course. And you were running it like it was the MCAT. And I'm like, but you're not there yet. Like that's the whole point of recognizing where you are and then figuring out what you need to do to train. So you're like, oh, I failed. I'm like, how do you fail? Like you can't fail the MCAT assessment
I
test.
mean, can you stop sharing? Can you
Failing.
stop sharing the stuff between us to the audience? I'm
Okay.
just saying, like that's between me and
You
you,
just shared
though.
a whole bunch of stuff.
Damn, I didn't say I failed. You said that. Why are you putting my business out there?
Anyway, you told me you failed.
Anyway, guys, listen.
So
Don't listen to her, guys. The most important thing is this: I got to be more patient
you don't
with
listen to
my
me.
training. I got to be more patient, but I also want to be audacious. Also, that's the thing. I want to be more audacious. Like I want to like have big hairy balls,
Huh?
and goals, and be like, yo, like,
Ew. No
why can't I
thanks.
do this? Why can't I do this? I think I still got it,
Wow.
Renee. I think I still got it. You see those calves on the video? Look at them calves. I still got it.
So I don't think that you don't have it. I think you absolutely could hit your goal. I think you
30 seconds
absolutely could
more.
hit your goal.
30 seconds
30
more.
seconds. 30 seconds more or less. It don't make that much of a difference.
Yes, it does.
It don't make that
Yes, it
don't
does.
make that much of a difference, especially if you ain't running that long.
Okay. Look at all this innuendo. People didn't know we talk like in innuendo. These little inside jokes. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Come on. Come on.
Especially when you run a short race.
Hey, what's going on? Nothing.
But yeah, I think you
Yo, I
absolutely
caught
could
that,
hit your
yo.
goal.
I caught that. I caught that. It's not funny. Okay? That's not funny. All right, go on. Move on.
Oh, my love. Okay, listen. I think you absolutely could hit your goal. I don't doubt that. But I think that you have to be realistic about where you are and you have to work up to the pace that you want, right? You're not going to ever start where you want to end up, right? Like that's the important thing to understand, right? Again, we talking about MCAT, talking about boards, talking about anything that you're going to do that requires a lot of training. You're never going to start where you want to end up. And that's the point. The point is that you need to assess where you are so that you can see what it is that you need to do to get to the end result that you're looking for.
That's what I did,
And I
Renee.
think
All
that's
right,
important.
that's what I did. All right. So for all you pre-meds out there that think you're gonna take the MCAT without practicing, you need to practice, yo. You need to take like mad practice tests. It's okay. I wish I had done that more. Like, no, I wish someone had talked to me about that. I didn't know that people did that. Like, you're supposed to take like all these practice tests. Damn sure didn't know that my first year of residency that's what you're supposed to do. It wasn't until my second
Residency.
year my second year of residency when I started taking my app site, when I started doing all these practice tests before I took my actual app site.
Oh,
Yeah, that's when I started to realize, like, oh snap! Like you're supposed to go over all
you
these questions over and over and over and over again.
but you're very stubborn, right? Because you're so stubborn and so, let's call it confident about yourself in terms of your academics that you never wanted to listen to anybody. You didn't realize that what we had done for the first, 2 years of medical school was exactly that when we came to, yeah, there you go. Roll your eyes.
No,
Was
no, no, no,
exactly,
no, no,
oh my
no,
God,
no, no,
Nee,
no.
don't start.
Let's hold
Don't
on. Let's just
start.
get into this.
don't.
ladies, I want you to listen to what happened. This is what was happening.
Okay.
In med school.
Let's see what was happening.
In med school, I would study by myself. Renee would study by herself. And then right before a test, which would happen, how often did tests happen? Every 2 weeks? Or every 6 weeks? Yeah, every 2 weeks we'd have a test.
No, we had we had stuff in between, and then you had the block test.
So every 2 weeks we would have a test. The night before we would literally, in essence, kind of quiz each other and stuff like that. And then we go and take the test, right? Renee is over here trying to say that, like, the only reason that I was successful in med school is because we did Q&A. We did Q&A on that day. It's like, come on, yo, stop playing. Like the other 2 weeks before that, where I was studying on my own. So you need to tell me we're going to push all that stuff. But that's what you're trying to say.
That's what I said. That's not what I said.
What are you saying?
That is not what I said.
What are you saying?
That is not what I said. So first of all, what I was saying was, when you said I didn't realize that you had to do practice exams before your test, what I said was, that's what I was doing when I was in medical school with you. That when I studied on my own, right? So for the pre-meds and the medical students, especially the new medical students out there, I don't recommend that you rely on a study group to get information in your head. You have to study on your own. You have to study on your own. You got to. So when I would study on my own,
So you're saying when you're learning new stuff, don't go and
when
get
you're
it in a group first.
when you're first sitting down to study, don't sit down and study with anybody. That is the worst thing that you could do, because somebody else is going to be a distraction as to how you get this information into your head. Just, if you want to sit in silence with this person and just do your own thing, that's fine. But don't come together trying to, okay, let's see if we can understand the mechanism of action of, whatever it is. Like, no. Sit down, read it. Try to understand it for yourself. Figure out your own way of figuring things out. Then, after you figured everything out, after a few days of studying, then you can come together with your group. And that's what Nee and I would do, right? We would come together. And as a matter of fact, at one point, we also added one other person to to our study sessions, right? Shout out Chris Morrissey, right?
Wiggity,
wiggity. What's up? So when I would study on my own, what I would do is I would read my notes, my book, whatever. I had a bound notebook. And then I would fold each page in half. On one half, right, on the left side, I would write out a question that I thought might be a good question that they would come up with on the exam.
Okay.
On the right side, I would write out the answer, so that way I had literally a walking exam with me. So when I went to meet with Nee to study together, what I would do is I would ask. Hold on,
this is how she's gonna say she got me through med school. Hold on, keep going though.
Really, Nee? Really? You must feel like I did, because I didn't say anything like that.
No,
so if you feel guilty and you want to say that, that's fine. I mean, I'll take the credit. It's
Listen,
okay.
I'm really good at reverse psychology.
I paid your tuition too.
I'm really good at reverse psychology.
I paid your tuition too. So
hey, we could show the receipts on the student loan payments. All right, we can do that right now.
Okay,
we got electronic payments.
So anyway,
all right, keep it short. We got to get to our question. Hurry up.
Okay, but you keep interrupting me. Like, if you just let me tell the story, I'd be done by now. So anyway, that's what we did. And so the reason that I did that was because I wanted to simulate taking the test before we actually sat down and took it. And then, but you have to admit, a lot of the questions that were in my notes, they ended up on the test.
You see that, guys? You see how she is? A lot of the questions that you saw on the test were because anyway, listen, moving on. Hey, let's go to our first shout out to everybody.